Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are dedicating everything they have to become the first man to take humanity back into space. Both men have created their own companies dedicated to this task, Bezos with Blue Origins and Musk with SpaceX. So let us take a look at what is going on between these two competitors. So first, let us take a look at Blue Origin. Bezos, currently the second richest man in the world, founded Blue Origin in September 2000 with a goal of making space travel cheap, frequent, and more accessible through reusable launch systems. Recently, he is planning to step down from his position at Amazon and is intent to putting all his focus into his space company. In July, Bezos flew into the edge of space with 3 crewmates. The 11-minute flight was Blue Origin's first crewed mission, and it traveled 62 miles above the Earth's surface. Blue Origin has a host of other projects in the pipeline. Last December, the company was given the green light by NASA for observation missions, planetary expeditions, and satellite launches with its New Glenn rocket, taking the space company one step close to the stars. In May, Blue Origin was awarded $1 billion from NASA to produce initial designs for a human landing system for the Artemis mission, which aims to land humans on the moon in 2024. Other than this, the company is working on developing orbital and suborbital rockets. One of those rockets is the new Shepard, which ultimately aims to offer a 100-kilometer journey above Earth's surface that lasts 11 minutes. Then there is the New Glenn rocket, which has been named after pioneering astronaut John Glenn. It is a 310-foot reusable heavy-lift launch vehicle that can carry payloads to orbit. New Glenn is designed for a minimum of 25 flights and can lift 45 tons into low Earth orbit. In 2019, Bezos unveiled a giant lunar lander called Blue Moon that he said is going to the moon and would help Blue Origin populate space. The final goal is to establish what the company calls a sustained human presence on the moon. In less than 2 decades, SpaceX went from Elon Musk's dream of a greenhouse experiment on Mars to conducting the majority of US rockets launches. The early years of SpaceX weren't that great. The company was teetering on the edge of dying out as 3 of its earlier launches failed. Finally, after his team scrounged together enough parts for a 4th rocket, that SpaceX made history with the Falcon 1 rocket. From the start of the company, Musk has been very vocal about his plans to take humanity to Mars. Initially, he had hoped to reach the Red Planet by 2010, but just getting 1 rocket into orbit took 6 years. Falcon 1 orbited Earth for the first time on September 28, 2008. This paved the way for a 9-engine rocket, Falcon 9. It is a 2-stage orbital rocket that is used to launch satellites for companies and governments. The most exceptional thing about the Falcon 9 is that its first stage returns to Earth after launching the payload and can then land on either solid ground or on a floating drone ship landing pad at sea, which has another SpaceX innovation. On May 31, 2020, SpaceX's Dragon Draft carried cargo to the International Space Station, and it made history by being the first commercial spaceship to send astronauts to the ISS. In 2018, the company grabbed a lot of attention when they launched the Falcon Heavy, the most powerful rocket launch from the US since the Saturn. Currently, the company is working on developing the Starship. Musk hopes that this massive rocket will be able to transport cargo and human passengers around the world and the solar system, the first target obviously being Mars. With the nature of their companies and their creators, a competitive race was inevitable. Recently, a point of contention between the 2 powerhouses has been the Artemis project. Artemis is designed to land humans on the moon quickly by 2024 and then focus on Mars as a long-term human spaceflight goal after that. The preliminary short-term plan involves using both commercial rockets and NASA's Space Launch System, the Orion crew capsule, and a lunar landing system. The plan is to establish a permanent presence on the moon. NASA had earlier released plans to award contracts to 3 companies, that is SpaceX, Blue Origins, and Dynetics. However, in the end, the contract was solely awarded to SpaceX, which led both Blue Origin and Dynetics to file GEO protests over the award. They cited flawed acquisition for the program and issues and concerns with the award process. The GAO denied the protests in July. However, Blue Origins wasn't taking no for an answer and filed another complaint with the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. The report was shrouded behind a protective order but was described as a challenge to NASA's unlawful and improper evaluation of proposals submitted during the moon competition. The earlier protest had prevented SpaceX from starting its contract for 95 days, while this complaint would once again delay the process. And it did a couple of days back. NASA said that they had asked SpaceX for a temporary stay of work till November 1. This isn't the only place where these two companies are competing with each other. Currently, both companies are facing off with each other to be the first one to provide internet everywhere on the planet. SpaceX was the first to do this in the shape of Starlink. Starlink is the company's capital-intensive project to build an interconnected internet network with thousands of satellites, known as a constellation in the space industry. These satellites are designed to deliver high-speed internet to consumers anywhere on the planet. More than 1,700 satellites have been launched, and the company's plans to deploy next-gen satellites that will feature faster speeds, lower latency, and more backhaul capacity. However, there is now a new competitor on the scene. Amazon has gotten approval from the FCC to start building its internet constellation named Kuiper. The tech giant wasted no time after the green light and announced that it would invest $10 billion into the constellation's creation. Named after the distant belt of frozen space rocks that include Pluto, Amazon expects this Kuiper system to consist of 3,236 satellites that will orbit the Earth in what's called low Earth orbit, between 430 to 932 miles above the Earth's surface. According to Amazon, Kuiper will be able to deliver high-speed internet all over the world and will be able to meet the needs of millions of people, especially those in Africa, where internet speed are deceptively bad. With this development, Musk and Bezos will once again be in a tussle, as both men would want their companies to land premium government and military contracts, among other private deals, with this competition already being apparent between Blue Origins and SpaceX. Musk has a big head start, the importance of which cannot be understated. But with the level of resources available to Amazon and Bezos, this gap won't be too difficult to fill if everything goes according to plan. In the future, you might even see Bezos entering into competition in the self-driving car market, a thing which seems more and more likely, especially after Amazon purchases the small self-driving company Zeus, an acquisition that earned Musk's mockery in the form of a tweet in which he called Jeff Bezos a copycat. Well, one thing is for sure, as long as these two remain rivals, we are going to see a lot of innovative inventions coming to the market. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button to view more of our content on your feeds, and of course, do hit the bell icon to remain updated about all of our future videos.